So at first I thought, uh-oh, absolute power, super sons? But then I realized there was no S on the end of sons. I was a little bit disappointed. Brian Michael Bendis just had to age up John Kent. Not saying we didn't get good stories, but we probably could have got good stories with him the same age as Damian. Anyway, my name is Dorian. This is SEO Comics. We'll continue our coverage of Absolute Power with Super Son #1. So the story starts off on Themyscira, where you have John texting his boyfriend Jay. John's telling him about the view. Jay's wondering why John hasn't picked him up yet. And John lets him know that the Amazonians want to do a few more tests on him before they say he's in the clear. So speaking of Amazonians, Lo shows up and tells John that it's time for his final exam. And John is like, you know what, the Brainiac Queen's all out of me. Batman made sure of that with the mother box. And Lo says that evil is like cancer. Its reach is vast. What Batman removed was just a tumor. We gotta make sure it's all out. So John's laying down on the exam bed and he still has his phone, like your typical Gen Zer, because he still really believes that all of Brainiac Queen is out of him. And Lo grabs the phone, is like, we gotta make certain. So they start the process. He sees when Batman comes with the mother box to free him of the Brainiac Queen. He also sees a memory that the Brainiac Queen was showing him while he was doing other stuff. He walks up to this limo where you see Dreamer and Damian Wayne wearing a chauffeur hat and coat. So I guess you could say we're getting a little bit of the Super Sons, even though it's in dream form. So he gets into the limo. He sees Dreamer. She's holding his cat Goldie, who's been dead for a long time, and he knows it. And that right there should be getting some tall tale signs. It's like, who's been feeding you? Who's been changing your litter box? So he starts to realize that this is a dream and he's being manipulated, especially when Damian Wayne is like, dude, when am I ever a chauffeur for you? While he was in that dream, this is what his body was doing. He's flying after this crazy looking plane that has a huntress in it. The pilot's like, I don't know how I let you talk me into this. That is Superman's son that's after us. And he wastes no time catching up to the plane and breaking right through the bottom. Now, I don't know what kind of ability this is, or she has like a device, but she shoots some like lasers from her hands into his eyes, and then she shoves a grenade into his mouth and then kicks him out the plane, says, I'm sorry. It explodes, but this is Superman's son, so he is just fine. So he flies back into the plane. She swings on him. He ducks. Pilot's like, F this, and he just ejects himself out of there. She tries to do a leg sweep, and he jumps in the air. I'm thinking to myself, why jump in the air? He's like, she can't leg sweep you. Maybe he realized that she's about to leg sweep, break her leg, so he jumped to make sure that she doesn't get hurt. And then he even catches one of her punches. But then with her other hand, she comes with an uppercut and actually hits John so hard that blood comes out of his mouth. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? But then the plane, I guess, jostles because there's no pilot. She hits her head on the plane wall. She's knocked out. So John grabs her, grabs the pilot, and takes him to Gamora Island. And the man on the wall is like, man, you even catch a non-power superheroes, member of the Bat family. And you did it before my second cup of coffee. Good job. So then she starts to talk about Dream, how she died a little bit sooner in her plans than she expected. But I guess she was a bloodhound when it came to fighting superheroes, even though John's pretty good at that too. But then she goes, but perhaps there was a blessing in disguise. So what good is a precog that can't predict their own death? So then she's like, now I'm stuck with her family as Hodgeses that I have to keep fed. Then she goes, Peacekeeper, what's your status? And if you don't know how Dreamer died, she died in Absolute Power #2. Link to the playlist is in the description. So they show him bringing in some other superheroes like Vixen. I know the guy wearing the mask is Wesley Dodds, the Sandman, and I don't know who the other girl is. Let me know in the comments if you know who that is. And then he wakes up and he's like, that's enough. So they're trying to hold him, but this is the son of Superman. And he's like, I'm all better now, I promise. And he does not look better. Not at all. So then it cuts to Amazon treatment session, beta #2, where John's flying and he sees this monster attacking this marina. And he flies right through the monster to save some people. So then he sees that his drummer boy, who's controlling the monster with his drums, and he uses his heat vision, breaks his drums, then goes at Wonder Boy. I still blow some super breath at him. He jumps right over. And he's like, look, the developers that own this marina are also trying to tear down an LGBT testing center. And if I eliminate their source of money, that'll give the center time to relocate somewhere else. John's like, okay. let me have you talk to my boyfriend. Maybe he can help you out. As he grabs Drummer Boy and he looks back and he sees his parents, but his parents kind of look like the Brainiac Queen. And then she appears as Drummer Boy and she throws him into a building. So one of the Amazonians is like, I knew it, she's still in there. And they're trying to restrain him down. And they're like, it's the son of Superman, it's kind of hard to do. And one of them's like, all right, well, get as many Amazonians there as possible because we need to get this done. So while Brainiac Queen is just putting on John, Dreamer and Galaxy are just sitting on like a rooftop eating pizza, having a conversation. So finally, Dreamer decides to intervene and knocks the hell out of Brainiac Queen, grabs John, and tells him to follow her to a safe place. And all of a sudden, he walks in the apartment and they're like, surprise, it's Supergirl, Damian, Nightwing, and Alfred. Everybody knows Alfred's dead, so you know this is a dream. And John even says as much. So the Dreamer notices Brainiac Queen like right outside the window. So John kind of picks up Alfred and he like turns into like a stick figure. John's like, you're dead. Jay's been captured. Like, what's going on? But then he wakes up and he's still on the mascara, but he's not inside the lab. So his phone goes off and it kind of scares him. He looks. It's his boyfriend Jay. They start texting back and forth and he's like, something's different. But then we go back into his dream and Brainiac Queen has full control over him. So Dreamer is trying to help him, but John has been through a lot. They show when his grandfather was messing with him, Jor-El. They also show when Ultraman pretty much tortured him, and he tortured him for a long time. Now he's going through all this stuff with Brainiac Queen. Like the boy's been through a lot. But his Dreamer that's right there helping him, and his Dreamer that's there by his side. Now, if he is free of the Brainiac Queen, a big assist needs to go to Dreamer. And John is trying to tell his boyfriend Jay that. But Jay ain't trying to hear that. Jay is glad that Dreamer's dead because she's the one that killed his mom. And John's trying to explain how, it really kind of wasn't her fault and they was staying with circumstances. Who wants to hear that when it's about their mother's death? Like, no one wants to hear all that. So Jay is about to say the words, maybe we need to break up and see other people. But John doesn't let him say that. But all of a sudden, the mascaras come out of nowhere. It's like, hey, Nightwing needs you. Like, they're moving on Manor Waller and we need to move now. So John's like, all right, well, I got to go take care of this. And Jay's like, yeah, go take care of that. And then maybe we can work on us later. And that's pretty much how the story ends. So I ask you, do you think John and Jay are done? Do you want them to be done? Do you want John to see girls? Or do you want him to just find a new boyfriend? Or should they stay together? Please let me know what you think in the comments. Now, if you want to support the channel, you heard me say the phrase, BAMF, now it smells like farts. Well, it's not just a phrase anymore. Now we have merchandise. What the hell's wrong with you? Like, are you seriously trying to sell that? You know what? I'm tired of you. Bam! Why would you do that? Good Lord. Whew. That is comic book accurate. That's what you get, you big-headed son of a... Bam! It's not even my universe. Why would you do that? Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Kirby's so proud of you right now. Purchase your BAMF, now smells like farts, merchandise today. Links in the description. Bam! Whew! That does stink.